No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing, whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come, let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blessed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. There's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone and someone cares for you. As an individualization of divine point of view, this door, oh this door right here is open for you. Oh, this door, I'm talking about this door. I said this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
There we go. Unmuted. Could you imagine if I was unmuted all the time? Oh my gosh, that would be terrible. Every thought that entered my mind just, oh. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's great to see you all here. Welcome to everybody joining us online, either live now or later on. It's wonderful to have you here. And let's begin with first acknowledging this beautiful land that we are on. We are grateful to work and live and play on this unceded and ancestral territory of the Snuneymuxw people, part of the Coast Salish people that are up and down the west coast of North America. And for this great honor and privilege to live here, we say Haichka. Yeah. And let's begin with an affirmative prayer. So I invite you to just take a moment now. Place your hand on your heart. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes and just allow my words to be your words. As we affirm right here, right now, that we are one in the spirit of unity. We honor each other with our love and our presence. We invite one another to live freely, without judgment, without fear. And we invite one another to go within, speak your truth, know your truth, call upon your internal wisdom as you move forward in life. And for this, we are grateful and we say thank you, and so it is.
Best one is sit on a broken chair.
Sorry about that. Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are all part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
Did I end that early?
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision, and no one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now.
So welcome again, everybody, to Sunday, March 3rd? Wow. 2024? Wow. Man, seems like stuff that happened in the 80s was like so last century now. I'm always I love to pull things from a bunch of different places as I have matured, aged. I have. It's quite surprising to me how many things in art, in literature, from the past, the present, all kind of you can pull from and see things show up as the same sort of lessons and teachings. And so I thought it would be fun today to go from one, I think they're like way far apart, science fiction and Charles Fillmore. Although maybe you could think that back then Charles Fillmore was speaking in terms of science fiction, but anyhow, so one of the things that is near and dear to my heart is the discussion of fear and our thinking and our mindset and how that all works either for us or against us. And this being Easter and coming up on the great crucifixion story, I thought this was appropriate today. So fear. According to Charles Fillmore in The Revealing Word, fear is a painful emotion marked by alarm, dread, or disquiet, and that's from Webster's Dictionary. Fear is one of the most subtle and destructive errors that the carnal mind experiences. Fear is a paralyzer of mental action. It weakens both mind and body. Fear throws dust in our eyes and hides the mighty spiritual forces that are always with us. And then under crucifixion, he ties that in with the crossing out in consciousness of errors that have become fixed states of mind. So if we're operating in fear, error thought becomes a fixed state of mind. And the crucifixion story is supposed to be an example of crossing out that error thinking. The surrender of death of the whole personality in order that the Christ mind may be expressed in all its fullness. The crucifixion of Jesus represents the wiping of personality out of consciousness. We deny the human self so that we may unite with the selfless. And so now I will pull from the great spiritual literature of the book Dune.
Yep. I know where you're going. I'm in.
And the Bene Gesserit that would say whenever fear, this is their order and what they would speak to themselves. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. I think we have a song. We do.
Oh, man, this one. I got this week. I'd never seen it before, and I couldn't find it on YouTube.
Ken, fear is the mind killer.
Anyway, I apologize in advance.
I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Flowing like a mirror of peace. I am like a wandering child. Love cannot be added to me.
I am made complete in the divine. I am spirit-led, spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. There's a magic in every day. You should be up here like a beautiful song. And as I'm choosing my way, there's a voice inside to guide me along. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Thank you, ladies. In the words of the Bene Gesserit, you are a human. Animals fear.
I don't know. Oops, microphone. Do I need to turn it on?
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know who chose the music this morning, but definitely a couple of my all-time favorites. At ordination, I'm presented with a Bible, and my mentor took it and got it engraved for me on the front with my name and spirit-led, spirit-fed.
Wow.
That's my motto. So good job, Ken. Oh, can everybody hear me okay? All right, wonderful. Well, it's great to be back with you all. It's wonderful to be here in Nanaimo and really welcoming and enjoying being back as part of the greater community. I know, as many of you probably know, my husband Joseph and I went away on about a 4.5-month trip to India, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Malaysia. And this is our 5th time to some of these places and our 2nd time, and some of them were new. So our main interest when we travel like this is to visit spiritual places. And believe me, in these 4 countries, there is more, there's multitude of places to choose from. So we went to Hindu temples, all different kinds of Hindu temples. We went to Buddhist temples. We went to mosques. We went to a synagogue in India, a very old synagogue and Jewish cemetery there that's been there for, 800 years or something like that. Some of the places that we visited were thousands of years old, where people have gone to pray and to just be. And some of them were brand new. They're still building temples and things like that. So we saw a lot of familiar things, obviously. We've enjoyed being there many times before. And we also saw some new things, which, of course, is the whole thing about traveling, right, is exploration and curiosity. So one new thing that we saw was this image that I sent to Patricia. And it's like, okay, a 4-faced Buddha. That's kind of interesting. Never seen that before. We saw that in India. Then we went to Thailand and we saw it again. And it's like, okay, now we're curious. What is it with this? Because we have quite a long history of Buddhism. Why 4 faces? So I tend to just think, wow, I wonder why. Joseph, on the other hand, gets into the research, does some, investigation and stuff, and finds out that these 4 faces represent 4 aspects of the heart. Each one sees the world in a different way, and each has a different purpose. Yet they belong to the one heart. They are inseparable, kind of like a compass with 4 directions. And there are 4 ways, and according to this tradition, that these 4 faces, that these aspects face. So one is loving kindness, another is compassion, rejoicing, and equanimity. So I thought, when I heard that, I might leave the country for a while, but it's like, that would make a great Sunday talk when I get back. So this past weekend, my 4 friends, Pat Clarkson, Mavis Gleckler, and Anna Harvey. Pat's visiting from, she was part of Unity here on the island for many, many years. She lives in Saskatoon now. We have an annual retreat at the Bethlehem Retreat Center. And I thought, oh, so 4 faces, 4 people. I wonder if I could encourage them and coax them into sharing a Sunday talk. And they agreed, which I'm so grateful. So how we're going to do this is we're each going to take one of the aspects. And then we're going to, we decided that instead of one longer meditation at the end, that we would have a moment of silence after each of the 4. And that way we get to really just, imbue what's been spoken and let it settle within us. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
All right. So Anna is going to start us off with loving kindness.
Thanks, Reverend Vicky. And good morning. And
Morning.
good morning. So recently it was my fun and pleasure to rewatch the movie called Eat, Pray, Love, which many of you will be familiar with. This is with Julia Roberts in the role of Elizabeth Gilbert, known as Liz, of course, in the movie. And in Liz's interaction with Ketut, which you might remember, this is her Balinese medicine man and teacher, Ketut gives her a drawing, a very unusual drawing, given that this human-like form has 4 legs, no head, and eyes at the heart level. To find the balance you want, Ketut tells Liz, you must keep your feet grounded so firmly on the earth. It is as if you have 4 legs instead of 2. That way, you can stay in the world. But you must stop looking at the world through your head. You must look through your heart instead. Look through your heart instead. That, I believe, is how we take action on the beautiful concept of metta. Metta translates as loving kindness. It's the gentle art of extending compassion and goodwill and warmth to all beings, including ourselves. It's a genuine desire for the well-being of all. Loving kindness lends itself very well to imagery. So imagine a sunflower turning toward the sun. Such is the heart when it radiates loving kindness. You can imagine ripples upon a pond. Each ripple sends its wave of loving kindness outward to friends, strangers, and even those that challenge us. The parable of the poisoned arrow shared by Buddha holds profound wisdom that resonates with the concept of metta. A man is walking along a treacherous road when he is struck by a poisoned arrow. His pain is intense and his life hangs in the balance. Yet, before allowing a doctor to remove the arrow, the wounded man insists on knowing who shot that arrow. What wood was that arrow made of? Where did the archer actually come from? The Buddha emphasizes that such a man would die long before he would have answers to his questions. Through this parable, we see that the poisoned arrow symbolizes our pain, our attachment, and our aversion that we experience. And the questions, that constant quest for answers, gets in the way of healing. The urgency lies in removing the arrow, the immediate suffering, rather than indulging in a search for speculative details that hinders the compassionate response. Metta's key message to us is, make healing the priority action, rather than our inaction in endless metaphysical speculation and questions. Or, in the words of Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
Let us prioritize loving kindness over speculation, removing the arrows of suffering wherever we encounter them. In this way, metta aligns beautifully with Unity's principle of oneness. When we practice loving kindness, we recognize that we are interconnected. Our well-being is intricately woven into the well-being of others. The practice of loving kindness begins by sitting quietly, breathing gently, and repeating metta phrases. May I be happy. May you be safe. May all beings be free from suffering. May the world know love. In a world that is often divided by opinions and beliefs and identities, loving kindness bridges the gaps and breaks through walls. It dissolves the illusion of separateness and reminds us that we're all part of the same cosmic family. And yet, metta isn't only about others. Through cultivating loving kindness to self, we transform our own inner landscape. We heal old wounds, we release self-criticism, and we embrace our inherent worthiness. The inner strength of loving kindness helps us to navigate life, to resolve conflicts, and promote healing. So let's look through our hearts. Let our hearts hold metta for all beings. Let it be our guiding light. I invite you to take these words into the silence.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is a blessing to be back on the island and to be at a Unity service. The face of compassion. 13 years ago, I came to the island to heal from the loss of my husband. Often I would wander down to the Campbell River Library, and one day I saw a poster for a Compassion Weekend retreat at the Buddhist temple in Courtenay, and I didn't even know there was a Buddhist temple there. And here I would discover Geshe, the Buddhist monk, who honored me by accepting me as one of his students. One of his teachings was on the compassion mantra. Compassion means we suffer with. It does not mean we become codependent or base our happiness on someone else's happiness. What it does mean is we allow our hearts to open to any suffering. Geshe shared, when we have a need, first, we should get involved, personally involved. He says, if you can't do that, he said, then financially support. And if you can't do that, then say the compassion mantra for them. And I use this practice all the time. He said, when we say the compassion mantra for someone, we take on their suffering. We relieve them of their suffering for the moments that we say it. And he said, never worry that the suffering's staying with you. It just kind of goes right through and out the other side. It just flows through us. Geshe taught us when we say a mantra, we need to speak it. You can whisper it, but you need to have breath behind the words, because the breath takes the mantra to everyone. At the end of the mantra, you blow a puff of energy, which gives it more force to be spread throughout. But he said to remember to also inhale some of that puff, because you are an other. And I remember the night he said that, I was in shock because I was always just doing it for everybody else. And then I went, I am one of those others. Have you ever witnessed or had your heart call out to you to help? And at that moment, it is impossible for you to do it. I often experience this when I'm driving and I can't stop or I can't turn around and get back. And it's when I see situations with a child occurring, or a dog, or someone trying to cross the road and they're having difficulty and the light is turning, or when in Saskatchewan, where I'm from, Saskatoon, there is often many wild animals killed on our highways. And as I drive, I say the compassion mantra for their soul. Or when someone's cut down a tree, I stop and say a compassion mantra. Having the practice of the compassion mantra allows me to feel for a few seconds that I have helped another sentient being. For me, being compassionate means hearing from the heart, hearing their call of suffering. So now what I'm going to do is say the mantra for anyone who is suffering from physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I will say that mantra. Om Mate Moye Saledu, 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 Om Mate Moye Saledu. May you take this into the silence of hearing from your heart. Namaste.
The third face is rejoicing. I love this one. Rejoicing. Rejoicing. What does that mean exactly? So I was thinking, well, when we see people who are happy, people who are successful, we celebrate their good fortune. We rejoice with them. We add our own joy and our delight and our enthusiasm and our energy to their situation and to them in particular. We can take the energy of joy, right? And we can expand on it. We can pass it on and we can look for more, because once you're in that kind of energy flow, this is what happens to me anyway. I start seeing it in more and more places around me. Buddhism offers what is called an antidote. So actually these four aspects are all antidotes to some of our baser, if you want to call that, emotions. Because sometimes when we see some good things come to someone else, we may feel bitter about that, or envious, perhaps, or judgmental. We can feel those things, or we can use the antidote of rejoicing to turn this around. We can wish for their happiness to continue and to expand. So would you join me, please, in the silence with this affirmation? I see and rejoice in the good everywhere. I see and rejoice in the good everywhere.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, the fourth phase of God is equanimity. And I've been able to practice that while I've been sitting here. So you might I did question what is equanimity? And this whole time as I was preparing for this, some really funny things turn up in your life when you get involved in projects. So I couldn't even remember the word half the time. I would start to think, I'm giving this talk, I need to know about this something. Is it equality? No. Is it equilibrium? No. It's like, how can I not even just remember the word that I'm supposed to be talking about here? Anyways, I think I've got it now. It's equanimity. And equanimity involves maintaining an inner calm and steadiness regardless of the external circumstances. We express equanimity when we can respond to our life's experiences with an attitude of acceptance, patience, and understanding. We allow ourselves to observe what's happening without getting caught up in those emotions that arise when unexpected and challenging events occur. With practice, we create a new brain pathway to reduce our reactivity to our circumstances, and it allows us to be a stabilizing, calming, and balancing influence in our world. This is equanimity. So I invite you to think of some situations that might throw you off balance. Perhaps a friend is late for your outing, or your plane is delayed and you miss your connecting flight, or you have an additional unexpected expense, or when you become aware of some world tragedy. You know what happens in your system at that point. You get flustered, your mind starts to spin, your heart starts to beat faster. This is where equanimity steps in. We can respond with a calm, centered, and non-reactive energy which is likely to produce more effective results than flying off the handle. I think we've all done that. It does not mean that we are not present and aware of what's happening in our lives. It's only a difference of where our response energy comes from. It comes from our inner wise, compassionate self, or is it coming from our defensive, separate self? Some words that are used to define equanimity are calmness, composure, even-mindedness, serenity, tranquility, resilience, poise, and inner balance. Now, who wouldn't want to live expressing all, or at least some of those, especially during times of duress? When we are operating from equanimity, we can remain calm in the face of challenges and adversity. We do not panic or react hastily or angrily, but instead, we can assess situations with inner balance and grace. And that's when I think all unity say, breathe. We can cultivate equanimity by being aware, which means we're conscious of what we're thinking and feeling, both emotionally and physically. I read an interesting statement the other day. It said, you feel in your body what's going on in your mind. So equanimity encompasses both the mind and the heart. There are 3 aids that can assist us in developing equanimity. I don't think it's a natural state for any of us necessarily. So we want to figure out how to embrace it, how to create it in our lives. So one of them is an attitude of non-attachment, not emotionally attached to any particular outcome. Another one is mindfulness, living in the present moment. So not thinking of focused on the past or what's coming. It's being right here, right now. How does your body feel? What's your emotional state? And what are you thinking? And self-compassion. Examine your slip-ups with a curious and loving mind and embrace the equanimity that results from non-judgment. I'm going to invite you to take a moment in the silence to contemplate the place of equanimity in our lives.
Well, thank you, Anna and Mavis and Pat. You know, when we came together for our retreat, it's like, we don't have to do anything. We can stay in our pajamas all day. We can just, hang out and not have any obligations or commitments. And they so generously said yes to my invitation. to participate in today's service. And I'm sure you are all have been touched in some way or another by what's been said. I thought I would share with you an example of the time that I could use all these 4 faces on our trip. So when we were in Sri Lanka, sea turtles are kind of one of my favorite beings on the planet. And when we were in Sri Lanka, we visited a sea turtle sanctuary and rescue center. We visited 2 of them. So all the sea turtles that were there were victims of fishing nets being wrapped up around their bodies or eating plastic bags thinking they were jellyfish. So people would find them on the beach, fishermen would find them, out in the ocean, and they bring them to the rescue center. Also, so they were in tanks that, big cement tanks undercover right on, just up from the beach a little bit, excuse me. And there they were cared for. They also had another part of their program, which was protecting the eggs of the sea turtles when they come onto shore and lay their eggs. They have a little nursery in there. So they have volunteers who come every morning, well, before dawn, and search, walk up and down the beach and see if there's any tracks that were left from a sea turtle coming up on shore. And then they dig up all the eggs and move them inland about 30 feet to behind the enclosure of the sanctuary. And then they rebury them in the sand. And they know how many days it's going to take them to hatch. And they know what kind of turtle it is. There's 7 kinds of sea turtles because they can tell by the track pattern on the sand. And they have a little logbook and they write in on this day, 89 eggs, were planted here. And there's a little, like a popsicle stick there, and then they know pretty much really to the day when they're going to hatch. And they they actually keep them in some of the tanks until they're 2 months old. And they're about this big. And then they, under supervision, release them back into the ocean. So, so I got to, wander around, and they said it was okay for me to pet them and stuff. I said, do I have your permission? She said, yes, talk to them. And, and she said, some of them are only there, usually only for a couple months. It takes, they have a veterinarian who comes in and administers medication and monitors their health, getting rid of the plastic bags and letting them build their weight back up and things like that. And then they're released. And these tanks have different flags on them from countries who have donated to build a tank. And there was one with a Canadian flag on it. I was happy to see, and German and Holland and Japan and things like that. So while I was there, I experienced all 4 of these faces. Loving kindness flowed, of course. I wished all of these turtles well. I extended my heart and opened my heart to them for their well-being. Compassion flowed, of course, as I saw their injuries. And, there was 2 of them were blind in one eye. And so they would live out the remainder of their lives there. One on the back fin had like a bite-sized piece taken out of its fin from a shark. So she said, but as long as they have their front legs, they're okay. We'll just let this back leg heal and it can go back into the ocean. So lots of compassion when I saw these dear creatures there. When the volunteer director expressed her gratitude for all the volunteers who come in and take care of the turtles, feed them, clean the big tanks. Like the tanks are half the size of this room. They're big tanks because, of course, sea turtles are quite large. Go out and check the beach in the morning. How grateful she is for all those volunteers, for the volunteer veterinarian who comes every day to check on the turtles, for all the donations received. And I rejoiced with her. And when I heard that only 1% of the baby turtles that are released survive, I practice equanimity, right? I remain centered. This is just a fact of the life cycle of these beautiful creatures. So we all have the potential to abide in this loving kindness, compassion, rejoicing, and equanimity. And when we practice these, they become our inner wealth, right? More valuable than anything outer. Namaste.
Thank you, ladies. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy.
I don't know what to play after all that. There was so much beautiful information. Perhaps on the idea of perspective and four faces and all that, facing different directions. One theme from four perspectives. Let's see how that goes. Something I haven't done before, but fear is the mind killer. My favorite part of that is after the Bene Gesserit always say when you pass the test, they go, you've proven that you are human. Something to consider. It's fun. It's a good challenge.
Thank you, Nico.
My pleasure.
Pat, Mavis,
Ah,
Anna, Vicky, thank you so much. Yeah, that was wonderful. One of the things I love about Unity is the continual willingness to bring in other faiths and traditions and to see how we can pull from so many different sources as opposed to being it's only this way.
mhm.
It's a great gift, I think, to share with the world. So thank you. Thank you for that. Hot off the presses. What's happening in our community? The Canadian Path is out. Does anybody here subscribe to the Canadian Path? It's editor in chief right here.
Duly noted.
You know, it's actually pretty great thinking of this. The editor for the Canadian Path is here, and then the two most recent board members to Unity Canada, Reverend Vicky and myself, are here. So we are very well represented. Yeah. Our little island has a big footprint, I like to think. Yeah. The next What's Up meeting is Tuesday, March 5th at 7 p.m. This is, of course, all of our members and congregants' opportunity to join with members of the board and the ministry staff here to discuss what is going on here at the center. And, of course, to bring any of your grievances forward that you might possibly have. Although, who would have grievances? Come on. We just had this beautiful Buddhist representation of the four faces of God. Isn't everything perfect and beautiful? Yes, of course it is. Anyhow, it's in the newsletter and there's a Zoom link there. So please join us at 7 p.m. this coming Tuesday. March 26th is a UVI board meeting. That's actually a bit of a lie. So this could be a grievance right here because it's Sunday, March 24th here at the center. I think the 26th is a Tuesday. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I just looked at the calendar. And yeah, Sunday is March 24th. So if you would like to join and witness the exciting, the play-by-play motions of a board meeting, you are welcome to come and join the board here in person and just see the magic of 90 minutes to 2 hours of breathtaking speed. Exactly. This is like... You can't believe what happens at a board meeting. It's unbelievable. There will be gavels coming down on the table, people, point of order. It's incredible.
Robert's rules will be tested.
That's right. Unity Vancouver Island in Comox next Sunday. I will be there in person to speak. So that'd be a perfect time for everybody to come here to the center in Nanaimo. No, I'll be up. I'll be up island for that, and the talk title is "Take Time to Exhale." And then prayer circles are second and fourth Tuesdays in the Spiritual Center at 11:30, March 12th and 26th as well. And in Unity Vancouver Island in Victoria, there's a prayer circle Monday, March 4th at 11 in the First Met Room 119. And the next in-person service is Sunday, March 17th with Reverend Vicky. Will be there at the Oakland Center at 10 a.m. Did you know of this? Okay. You just had that look of like, what? I don't remember. And episode 20 of our Project Phoenix Rising podcast is out. And I've enjoyed doing these so much. They've been great. And I got to say, I was blown away at the information Don provided. So if you're interested in growing some of your own food, there's great information there from Don and the business that he's operating, but just the knowledge of having a little tower in your home to source out fresh vegetables, fresh greens, it's huge. But not only that, what I really love that I think I may have cut this out of I may have edited this out of the beginning, but so most of these have been just, we show up and we just talk, right? Dawn sends me a list of items that we might want to discuss, right? And so as I sat down with Dawn, I said, Dawn, I think this is the most prepared I've ever been for one of these. But what I loved about it was actually Dawn had this really great idea, is that he brought this back to spirit calling, because for him, this was a calling from spirit to do this business. And so we discussed that in this, like, well, have you ever had that calling? Have you ever had, and that calling being just that feeling inside, like, I want to do something. There's something that is, I want to step forward and do. And then there comes all of the carnal mind, as Charles Fillmore would call it, stepping in and saying all of the reasons you can't, right? All of the blockages that'll show up as to why it's not possible or why you might have to wait. And so I found it a helpful conversation with Don, just for myself to hear how he thought about that as well. So I thought it was a great episode, as I thought all of them are, but just join in on the latest one. Ongoing UVI events here in Nanaimo. There's the seated Tai Chi on Tuesdays, standard Tai Chi on Wednesdays, A Course in Miracles on Thursdays, Full Moon Circle Women's Group in Nanaimo to be announced, and the Women of the New Moon Zoom group. I mean, the New Moon Zoom group. It's just like, yeah, I want to go. March 10th at 7 p.m. Children, and please welcome now our children. If we have any here today, they are welcome into the room. But if not, and even if there are, please join me in the children's blessing. We see the divine light shining as you. We love and appreciate you exactly the way you are. Yes. Our vision, please join me in our vision for Unity Vancouver Island. It is a growing, unfolding, expanding center of light and love, mighty to attract its good and radiate good to others. And of course, always, thank you for the abundance that we have here at our Unity Spiritual Center here on Vancouver Island, for the time, the gifts, the treasure, the presence, people showing up. All the things that happen here are an absolute blessing, and it just seems to keep moving forward, and more things are happening and coming as Spirit calls us forward. So for that, we are truly grateful. Of course, if you have a financial donation, we accept those. We really, just to be clear, we absolutely accept those, and we have many ways in which you can participate in that. Donations at unityvancouverisland.com, so you can use that as an email address for a e-transfer. And of course, there is a box here on the inside wall that you can leave a donation to, or you can even mail them. Yes, the mail still works. And so last week we didn't quite set this up properly. So here's how this is going to happen today. We are going to do this song. Then we are going to do the prayer for protection, and then we're done. So when we left last week, we were all like, what's happening?
We are but the messengers. We are but the messengers.
Reverend Patricia has left town and made changes while she's out of town. So so that I can face it, because she wants me to have more training and development.
She wants you to practice equanimity in the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what happens when you make changes, Reverend Thomas, and you need to know how that goes. So this is my training ground.
Let's do it.
I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude. I thank the universe for each new day, whether it's sunny or it's pouring rain. In any situation, time or place, my grateful heart creates a state of grace. Yeah, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude. The doctors taught me how to praise the light. Wrongness made me hunger for what's right. I haven't found a place where I don't see heaven's blessing pouring down on me. Yeah. I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude. I've got an attitude of gratitude. I won't be waiting when my ship comes in. Won't trade my here and now for something then. I'm finding treasures in the little things. It doesn't matter what tomorrow brings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, 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 yeah. I've got an attitude. I've got an attitude. I've got an attitude of gratitude. Slow down now. I used to cry for deliverance, send desperate pleas to the heavens. And it wasn't until I gave up and got still I could see all the gifts I'd been given. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude. I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude. One more time, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude, I've got an attitude of gratitude.
Now we get to slow it down. Everybody breathe and join me for the prayer for protection. The light that is God surrounds us. We are one with the light. The love that is God unfolds us. We are one with the love. The power that is God protects us. We are one with the power. The presence that is God watches over us. We are one with the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Equanimity, friends. Equanimity. This is your chance. Practice hard.